In this week's episode, we talk about intercessors, Facebook strategy, and conspiracy theories. Hi and welcome to episode 52 of Business Greenhouse TV. This week is the comment show. I need you to make a comment in the comments box below here. I'm currently running a bit of a social experiment, which I'll be teaching on, but I just need to get the data first. Would you please, if you're watching this, or if you watch 1 minute, 5 minutes, the whole thing, would you quickly just make a comment below for me? I don't care if it's a word, a statement, an emoji, the hand, the arm, the dollar sign, whatever. If you can just make a comment below me, that'll help me with my social experiment, and that would be awesome. Thank you so much. All right, let's get straight into this week's show.
Our first question is a private question. They ask, I've heard you talk about having intercessors in your business. I don't really understand this, and to be honest, this scares me. How does it work and how do you find one?
All right, so intercessors. It's an interesting topic, certainly, I guess it might be new for some and maybe not for others. But here's my thing, as I look through the scripture, Jesus is our number one intercessor and he says, I'll go to the Father on your behalf. So we need to have that. I guess what I'm trying to pull on is the local covering of intercessor / prophetic, and I'll maybe cover off the difference in a little while. But effectively, the Apostle Paul had the two ladies that's referenced in the Bible that would speak into his life. Simeon had some and so forth. So basically all I'm looking for, I'm a marketplace person, right? I go into the marketplace, I try and do deals, I try and make a profit, and we use that profit for good. One of the things that I think the Lord's doing really well now is restoring the apostles and prophets together, okay? So it's about those marketplace strategic people that build infrastructure and partnering with those people who are very task-orientated with the prophetic, who hear words from the Lord and see pictures and can articulate what they saw in the heavenly realm back here on earth, put it together with the apostles, and they can build something fantastic, right? So for me, I just wanted that kind of like local covering from an intercession perspective, and I wanted to hear other words from the Lord, other opinions about what people were getting on my behalf. So we've been doing this for a long, long time with intercessors, and I just don't want it to be some weird voodoo thing. I'm only talking about it today because we started it as I wanted to find out if this was real, and could I, was it going to contribute to my business effort at all? And so we did it for a while, and it's been amazing. And it's not about letting someone speak into your life and change the direction. I have some pretty strict parameters on the way that I have intercessors around me in my business world. So just to give you an idea, we only have a few at the moment, and we try and put them on staff. We try and pay them, but some don't accept it. Some we just buy them gifts and so forth. And it's literally just about they spend their time, and they're probably doing it for multiple businesses. One of the people I know of, I think they've got like 100 businesses, and it's their full-time job, and they don't take a wage. They just get blessed in such a way. And basically they just supply a report. So every couple of weeks I'll get a report come through for an intercessor, and this is what the Lord's saying to me. And so for me, I never tell them what's going on. They don't know the inner workings, the good, the bad, and the ugly of my organization, because that might frame their prayer a little bit too much. So I just let them, have complete autonomy to pray and hear the Lord and supply it. And for me, I'm just looking at where are they backing up what I'm thinking, okay? Where is there common themes amongst what I'm thinking, they're thinking, others are thinking, and where is it confirming what I already thought? I would never take a word from an intercessor and make a massive decision based just on that, because that's abdicating my role, okay, as being given the field of influence that I have. But I just get these words and kind of sit them there, and sometimes I don't like them, so I tuck them under my computer for a few weeks or in the desk, and then get them out later. And you know, it's beautiful. It's amazing. You go back sometimes 12 months and you can see things that the Lord was trying to show you. You know, sometimes I can be a little bit too thick and a bit slow. You know, see stuff that he wanted to show me a long time ago starts to come out. So for me, it's just about having a local covering. They're praying for me. It's an act of warfare when they're standing the enemy down while I'm in the marketplace busy. I mean, obviously, I've got to do it as well. This is not instead of, this is as well as. So I'm doing it as well. They're doing it. And I just find that there has been amazing fruit from the process. And I'll just give you one story for fun, just because you're here. Back in about 2011, I was running 2 businesses. Now, if you know me, you know that I believe in a statement that man who chases 2 rabbits catches none. All right, so if you're chasing 2 things, you usually do them both badly and none of them work. And that was pretty much the case for me. I was running them both at 80% and it wasn't just not enough to make both of them work. They were both good businesses, but they weren't great. And so I decided to sit down. I was like, okay, I'm going to sell one of these businesses and keep the other one. And so I decided which one I was going to sell, and I decided to sell it. And I had organized a hookup with my colleagues and my business partners from the business I was going to sell for this following Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock. And that's when I was going to tell them I'm out. Anyway, on the Tuesday morning, really, really early, you know, I kind of went to bed on Monday night, a bit of trepidation about, you know, saying I'm selling this business. Monday morning, so Tuesday morning, the morning of the call, I wake up and there is a voicemail on my phone. And I quickly listen. It's really early in the morning, like in 5, 6 o'clock, whatever. I listen to this voicemail and it's one of my intercessors. And she goes, I'm leaving this as a voicemail, so I'm going to be quick. I saw you in a dream standing between 2 sand dunes, right? 2 sand dunes. Here I am, I've got 2 businesses. I'm looking to sell 2 sand dunes. And there were these precarious waves coming from one side. And there was going to be this massive wave that took out both sand dunes. But a hand from above came down, pulled you up. The water came in, took out the sand dunes. The hand put you back down. And this is what she's saying on the voicemail. And I just got the words, it's not time to cut ties yet. And she's like, I don't know what that means anyway, goodbye, right? And I'm like, could you be any more specific, Lord? You know, like, it's not time to cut ties yet. Anyway, so I'm like, cool, I've got this really wrong, you know? And I go on to have my 8 o'clock phone call with the team in that business, and they're like, so what's up? And I'm like, oh, nothing. And I kept the business and ended up getting rid of the other one over time. And I don't know what that mistake, to the very best of my knowledge, probably would have cost me somewhere between, had I gone with my idea over the word from the Lord, $500,000 to $1 million or something like that, just that one mistake alone. And that's just the kind of stuff I mean. You know, I'll get a word that says there's going to be disruption in this area of your business, so watch out. And then 2 or 3 weeks later, there'll be disruption. And just having that word meant that when it happened, I didn't have to freak out. The Lord's in this. So I would say to you that it's not a weird thing. And I would just submit to every believer in business, like you should entertain this concept, because it's their gift to the body. You know, ours is going and doing deals and selling products and making money and building team. Their gift to the body is to hear clear words from the Lord and get pictures and ideas and bring those to us to edify us and to give us clarity on what we're doing. And the 2 working together is amazing. So how do you find them? That bit's much harder, because it's not a gift that's been recognized across the body. Which is real sad, and so we don't have many, which is a shame. So I would say to you though that, you know, we're talking about somebody who is, you know, in the mix of intercession, prophetic, and then just a outright prayer warrior. Okay, not a warrior, a warrior. These people that just love to pray and pray and pray and pray and press in and press in and press in and hear words from the Lord and deliver them. You know, for you, whether that's somebody who's just a prayer warrior or a prophetic person or an intercessor, it's basically in that ballpark. So you just want to go find them at your church. It's really simple. Find them at your church or find them in your community and say, hey, listen, I've got this crazy idea. Would you pray for me? Would you practically pray for me on a regular basis? And then when you hear something from the Lord, send me a report, you know, every month or every 2 weeks or whatever floats your boat. And I'm not going to pay you, but in return, I want to give you some sort of offering in return, because I want to validate that gift on your life. And you'll find there are people out there who are so gifted for this, but no one's ever turned that switch on, and we should be the ones to do it. So it's not weird, it's not scary, it's not some, you know, out there thing. To me, it should be fundamental, faith 101, that we have people that are covering us and praying for us all the time, especially in the marketplace that is currently run by Babylon, and we're called to raid it. So how are we going to do that with our own smarts? We've got to partner with the other gifts of the body and go and do it together. Great question. All right, question number 2.
Matt Garrett asks, how many times do you try a Facebook ad in one demographic before changing the ad or demographic? And then, what would you change first?
Pastor Maddie Garrett, who's not a pastor, but he's got a pastor's heart, a phenomenal financial planner in Port Macquarie and surrounds. So the beauty of social, Facebook, is that that we can try lots of little things regularly to see what bites. Social media gets a bad rap, from some people that aren't making money on there typically. But let me tell you about one of the biggest significant changes that's happened that makes social and Facebook a really cool thing. If you go back 20 years and you wanted to do an advertisement in the paper, currently a full-page ad in the Sydney Morning Herald is like a once-off full-page ad is about $300,000. It's madness, right? So if you wanted to run an ad in the paper all those years ago, you basically just had to go all in. You run the ad, and then you crossed your fingers and prayed and hoped it worked. And then the feedback came from that in the following weeks or months or whatever the call to action was on that ad. And it was hit and miss. It either did work or it didn't work, and you maybe had to try 5 of them to find out what worked. Come back to 2017, you go to Facebook, let's not play with the big budget. Let's say you've got $2,000 to spend on customer acquisition on social, okay? Pick a number, it could be less, could be more, could be whatever. You don't just come up with your best strategy on Facebook and load it with $2,000 and see how it goes. The beauty of an instant platform that has billions of, or more than 1 billion active users and millions of bits of data, is that instead of spending $2,000 on a strategy to hope it works, you take $200 of your $2,000 budget and you run 5 different advertisements. Okay, you run 5 short campaigns. You do, maybe it's the same message, but this one's video, this one's text, this one's image. This has got a different headline to this one having a different headline. And you spend small amounts of budget on each 5, and you might be pushing them to the same audience, 3 days apart, or you may be sending those 5 to 5 different audiences to see what works, okay? No matter which way you go, think about what happens. If you pushed 5 different ads to one audience and then came back and looked at the data, you'd spent little bits of money, you go, that one didn't work, that one didn't work, that one did work, that one worked a little bit, and that one didn't work. What do you now know? The market have told you what they like and what they respond to. So now you take the $1,800 that you didn't spend and you put it on the strategy that the market have already told you they like. Talk about backing a winner. It's just a structure, it's just a process, but it's how we have got to the point on social where I know that if I spend X, get Y every time. So if I want 2 times Y, I just spend 2 times X. I know because I've got the numbers, because I spend enough time building up what does and doesn't work to that point. Okay, so how long? To answer your question, how long should you run it? That will depend a little bit on the size of the budget, the little budget that we're doing, and how big the reach is. If it's only a small audience, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people that you're pushing to, then you're going to have to give it a little bit longer to test the numbers. But if you're pushing to a 50, 100, 200,000 person audience, within an hour it's going to give you an idea. Within a day it's going to give you an idea. Certainly 2 or 3 days, all right? So for me, I want to basically throw enough money at it to get data. To me, some of your marketing spend is just capturing data. It's not even trying to get the return that you want at the end. It's just working out what are people engaging with, what are people clicking on, what's turning up in people's feeds, what do they like, what are they sharing, okay? And then only putting your money behind the stuff that does. If you were to run 5 different campaigns to the same audience, giving it 3 days each one, 15 days later, you know exactly which one to back with your money. And the market have already told you they like it. By the way, if this is valuable, I want to comment in the comments below. I'm a bit cheeky, but I want to comment. I'm doing a social experiment. I want to know what works. If this is in your feed and you're watching any bit of it, I need a comment below, okay? It can just be a grunt. It can be a full stop. It can be a smiley face. It can be a sad face. I don't really mind. I just want to see a comment from you in the comments below. That would be excellent. All right, let's go to Word of the Week. This week we're going to go to Philippians, okay? And Philippians 4:8, and it goes like this. And this is like the headline is Final Exhortations. It's like Paul like rounding out his letter, and he says this: "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Whatever you've learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into practice." All right, but the first bit, whatever is true, noble, right, pure, lovely, admirable, excellent, praiseworthy, think about these things. Have you noticed that there's a lot of bad news around? Have you noticed, like a bit of a theme for me? Like we did a bad news, good news one. We did a, perseverance builds character. Like now I'm on this bad news. Like Paul is saying that we need to start thinking about the good things that are happening. So many people are wrapped up in this world and they're only seeing bad. And I get it, it's everywhere. It's all through Facebook, it's all through TV, it's all through the paper, it's everywhere, and some of it's just outright ridiculous. Like, do you know how many Christians are forwarding a white trail behind an aeroplane and calling it chemtrails, and they're trying to dumb us down, and the CIA are all involved, and then all these murders and all this stuff that's going on. It's like it just closes in on you and gets you to the point where it completely snuffs you out, and you got no passion, no purpose, no power. And I'm sure it was the same in Paul's day, right? I'm sure that there was just nothing but bad news because humans were around. But I guess what he's talking about is what are you fixing your mind on? It's too easy to get caught up in the negative press. I mean, right now it is everywhere. But the problem is it becomes so consuming that you do not get a clear perspective. Because I know right now that for every bit of bad news that's out there, I've never seen the church work more in unity than ever before. I've never seen so many pastors lay down their agenda and get in amongst their community and want to do things together. I've never seen Christians who decide to give money away with abandonment and fund projects. There is so much good stuff going on out there. Right? There is so much good news in the faith. We are taking ground more than ever before. We're pushing back the enemy more than ever before. It is amazing what's going on out there. But what are you seeing? What are you seeing? One of the things that makes me personally mad is if the people that forward all that trash around Facebook about chemtrails and this, that, and everything else and every other bloody conspiracy theory, if they spent half of that effort actually contributing to a problem to bring a solution, maybe we wouldn't have half the problems in the world right now. It is madness. It is madness. And I can't imagine that you get to the end of your life and you stand before the Lord to give an account and you say to him, well, Lord, I did a favor for you. I forwarded every scam to try and get Christians to be educated. And he's like, that's not what I wanted you to do. I wanted you to love people and do your assignment. It's going to be an embarrassing conversation. So what are you looking at? You need to start to get around good news, positive news, praiseworthy news. You need to start to see the good things because there's so many of them, and the bad news will get you to the point where it snuffs you out. You'll become just a Christian that looks like you've been sucking on lemons for a decade. You'll be so sad, and we've got enough of them already. We don't need any more. So start to find the good stuff. There is so much good stuff happening in the world that's praiseworthy and noble and trustworthy and of good report. And you need to go find that stuff and meditate on it because it just makes you a happier person with a happier disposition. If this was valuable, comment for me, please, below. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.